All right, I think we are live now. Can someone confirm? Uh, put a thumbs up. Okay, I think that there is, so I have opened my video here on my other laptop as well, and I think there is some lag between what I'm saying and what is actually uh, shown on live. So I think in case you feel that there is some, I mean, what I mean to say, just please expect certain lag in when you uh, send me a message and when I respond. All right. So I have already received a few messages. So before I go through them, let me, hi Yash, let me give you a brief about, let me, in case anyone doesn't know me here. So about me a bit, I'm Kaustav. I have been pushing bugs in production since past 7 years and, you know, giving nightmares to my fellow developers. So I have been working in companies like I have worked in TCS, I have worked in Oracle, and now I'm working for Google as an application engineer. Previously for Oracle as well, I have worked as an application engineer. Um, I have worked usually as a web developer, then I have worked as a data engineer for a few months. Then I have also worked for as a full stack engineer in Oracle, and now, even in Google as well, my profile is more or less like a full stack. So yeah, I do front end, I do back end. I fiddle with databases as well, and uh, we are also responsible for all the deployments and infrastructure. I mean, you know, better about it. So, I have received two messages before the stream started, and the interesting one was, "Hello, who are you? Why are you recommended in my feed?" So Ashish, I'm not sure why I'm recommended in your feed, but uh, I don't know. Maybe you watch a few tech channels. So Pradeep Tugure. Pradeep Tugure has a question. Let me start with that. I have a basic knowledge on data structure and algorithm. I can start learning and practice. I have 10 plus experience in backend development. Should I try to join product-based company? Is it feasible? Well, Pradeep, I would say that why not? Everything is possible. I would say you have been doing backend development since 10 plus years, and uh, I'm assuming that you have a very good knowledge of systems, right? So I think for that kind of experience, the thing which people would actually look into is how good are you in leading a team, and how good are you in designing systems, right? And can you code, right? Coding part is really important in usually in product-based companies. So yeah, I would say go ahead with data structures and algorithms. It's always good to have some knowledge of data structures and algorithms. But however, I would also like to add is that there are a lot of companies there which do not require data structures and algorithms. So why not give a shot at them as well? Thanks, coding cerebrum. Um, so just CP after job. CP after job, Roshan, why not? I would say so. Competitive coding is, I haven't personally done competitive coding ever, but from what I have learned from people and other folks is that why not do competitive coding, right? Uh, Competitive coding actually helps you think faster. I mean, in my opinion, uh, for the time I have done some DSA practice and other stuff, it has really helped me think from very different perspectives and from different, it has helped me think faster and code faster. I would say if you are doing competitive programming even after job, keep doing it. It's a good sport, and it keeps your mind healthy. Please share some good technical books you have read. All right. So, good technical books, I would say there are a lot of technical books which I have read, and to be really, really honest, I don't remember all the names. Because the reason is, while in TCS, we had access to Safari books, and even while in Oracle, we had access to Safari books. So, and we had a library in TCS, a physical library in TCS offices as well. So I used to visit libraries at plenty of occasions initially, and I used to read books, whatever books I used to find about any topic I wanted to learn. But then I've read books around databases, React, um, uh, what do we call it, Flutter. Then I have also learned around Angular and other stuff. Most of the things I don't use, and I don't even remember, but I have read these books. I would say, I mean, go ahead, search the internet, Preet. You would find a lot of good books which you can read around data structures and around system design, if you want, if you mean those books. I remember a few books which I've read for data structures algorithms. One is Introduction to Data Structures and Algorithms. I guess it was by CLRS, the uh, authors. I have read Karumanchi a bit. Then I have read uh, a little few pages of CTCI as well, cracking the coding interview. Other than that, for system design, I have read a lot of books around Hadoop systems and big data infrastructures. Uh, Spark, about Hadoop itself, uh, then Lambda architectures. I have actually read a lot of books, and I honestly don't remember their names right now, but read through these technologies and books. So, you know what? The, these books have certain knowledge and certain concepts which really help you develop understanding and knowledge of other topics as well. Let's move forward. Please be consistent on YouTube. Yes, yes. So I plan to be consistent on YouTube. I have uh, I'm planning to do these live sessions every month now. Plus, I'm really sorry I could not post much around my mock interviews. Because I don't find time, and sometimes what I really want to do is, whenever before I upload any videos, I ask consent from people who were interviewed by me. However, I found few people who just did not respond back again. So that was kind of a turn down, and after that, I kind of stopped posting. And after a few days, I even stopped taking interviews. I mean, mostly because I was kind of busy in my personal life and with professional life. Like I mentioned, I'm doing a lot of I'm pushing a lot of production. So I'll certainly start our mock interviews. We have a Discord channel as well. I'll share the link later, and we are creating an application there, which will help us schedule interviews. So I'll talk about it later. Uh, how tough was it to get into Google? Was your profile more project centric or experience centric? Okay. So Coding Cerebrum asks this question. So how difficult was it? It was not easy. I would say. I mean, I had to practice DSA a lot. I did not have much experience with DSA before I started working for Google. Actually, not exactly Google. I was I mean, generally preparing for Switch, and Google happened in that time, and I was targeting product-based companies, and I was targeting DSA. So it was hell months, I would say, for me. Those few months during which I was practicing DSA. I mean, I was going straight 12, 14, 16 hours. it took a physical toll on me and even mental toll after a few weeks, 3 4 weeks. But then I I took rests in between all that period, and then I made sure that I'm giving my mind space to clean up, and even physically I was giving myself enough space so that I can keep my calm, and I can keep my I can you know I don't get crazy basically. So was my profile more project centric or experience centric? So I think uh, while I mean, when I was being contacted by a recruiter, right? So at that particular point of time, application engineering team was being set up in Google, and specifically in India. This role is very, very new in Google itself, and there have been a certain amount of hiring in US, and I think in Germany as well. I'm not sure if it's in Germany, but certainly in US. But then the entire team was being set up uh, freshly in India. So, and in Oracle as well, my profile was of application engineer, and my LinkedIn uh, said that I am an application engineer. So, um, I think that was one of the reasons I was contacted. And apart from that, I think I I had some interesting experience while in TCS, and then I had some interesting experience while in Oracle as well, which I tried to reflect on my resume, and I think that helped. I think that really helped. Okay, let's move ahead. So please share your journey from TCS to Oracle in brief, and from TCS, is it difficult to sustain in Oracle? So Kapil asked me. Yeah, so what happened, Kapil, was I joined TCS in 2014 July, and then I was assigned to a project for web development. It was, and our team was change request team. So all the change requests, small or large, used to come to our team, and we used to own those projects. Each change request was being owned by one particular developer, right? Be it senior or junior. For juniors, what they used to do is they used to assign a mentor who used to take them through that entire change request journey once or twice, and then they used to own them by their own. So after that, after about year and a half, I got an opportunity to travel abroad in London as a uh, for the same project actually, and then I was acting as a build lead there. Things were interesting for me. So, but what happened was while we were there, our project moved to a different vendor. So last few months were pretty hard because most of the transition had happened, and then while I had to come back, I was in I had switched to another project in within that same client with a different technology. Like I mentioned, I was working as a data engineer as well. So so the point is, we got projects, we learned Hadoop, Spark, Hive, and HBase and other technologies in that space, and uh, we started doing projects. So what happened while doing project was I was I was given a week uh, or about 2 weeks to create one simple transformation pipeline, ingestion and transformation pipeline. So the ingestion pipeline was few bash, basically a couple of bash scripts or 3 bash scripts, I guess, and then the transformation process was going to happen using Spark, and I had to learn Bash and Spark within those 2 weeks and deliver. So I did it, right? What we did in that process is, I mean, I read books around Spark and other stuff. Plus, we already had a code base which was running of a different team. So our project managers and our mentors mentioned that why not use the same project and just build it around it. So we did that. It saved us some time. And so I built an application from scratch at that particular point of time, using that using inspirations and whatever logic or concepts were there in their code using that. So while building that application, I got a feeling that I'm really not good developer, and I really cannot what should I say? I really cannot create a code by my own. I cannot create an application from scratch by my own. I realized it that day. I created that application and that application worked, but I got to know that I'm not really good at it. So I I tried to improve around it, but point is there was not much. There wasn't many avenues to do that while I was working in that project. So and the point is there was not much to learn from that project. Although the project was interesting, data engineering was booming at that time. The point is, my learning had stagnated because we were doing the same thing again and again. And after 1 or 2 months, when I got bored, and plus there was not much motivation from management during that time because it was a really stressful time for the project as well. I wouldn't totally blame them, but yeah. So that was the time I decided that I want to switch, and I want to switch to a product-based company because I had this perception that I may get better and I may get some opportunity to work on an application from scratch. So I started working on my Java. I started working on my data structures, and then I also started working on frameworks like Spring. Uh, Spring Boot didn't come at that particular point in time while I was switching, or if it did come, I didn't know about it. But then again, I could never learn Spring or Hibernate. I still don't know. But Oracle doesn't ask Spring. Fortunately, did not ask Spring, so I was safe. So that's the reason I switched from TCS to Oracle, and it's really not very difficult to sustain in Oracle, or at least in the project which I was in. It was really not very difficult. However, there are certain teams which use totally different technology, ADF. If there are any Oracleites here, they would know what ADF is and how frustrating it could be. So a few teams are using it, and yeah, and they are not really comfortable, I think. But my team was really good, and I did not face much problems. I worked on really wonderful projects while I was in that team, and I myself created a few tools for my team itself just to boost our productivity. And fortunately, or in some way, I usually got projects which I was interested in. I got to do the work which I was really interested. Ronak, hey, are you bong? Yes. I'm not sure how it's relevant, but yes. So Pradipta says, I don't have much knowledge on data structure and algorithm. I can start learning and practice. I think I just answered it, Pradipta. So you can, if you weren't there at that time, please go ahead, learn data structures and algorithms. It's good. But then there are other companies who actually do, who, I mean, who do not ask data structures and algorithms and who are more towards the technology side. You can go ahead with that as well. And the major thing which matters for you is whether you can lead a team and how good you are with systems. What's the one skill you think college graduates should have today while entering to corporate? Uh, I don't think you need any particular skill while you are entering corporate. Just I would say just enjoy the transition because you may or may not have worked in a corporate before joining your first job, and the things in corporate are really very, I mean, they are really very different from college. I mean, and it also depends on the environment of your college, but then corporate life is very different, and I would say just enjoy it. Still one thing, if I would have to insist on people to develop, would be communication skills. Communicate with people. I mean, reach out to people and talk to them. I can't. I'm kind of an introvert person, and I do these lives and interviews just to get over that thing. You know that. I mean, I'm a really introvert kind of a person, and it kind of helps me get over that thing. So what I would really want you to say is communicate with people. I mean, even if you don't know them, go talk to them, to your seniors, to your juniors, or to your colleagues, right? Talk to them, talk about their experience, learn from them. I mean, there could be people who are not very, very, warm to you, who may not be very warm to you, but there would definitely be people who would be warm and you can learn from them. Can we go with Python with DSA like those companies were language specific? Uh, okay. So any language would do, I would say. I mean, you can go with C, Python, Java, JavaScript, right? You can go with any language you want. However, I would recommend to use mainstream languages, right? Uh, like JavaScript, Python, Java, C, C++, these kind of languages. You can go with other languages as well, but usually companies have more interviewers with these languages. I think, except for Microsoft would have we would have a large number of C# developers as well. But yeah, that's what I think. I mean, you can go with any language. They would find some person with that specific language in that company, and the language actually doesn't matter for product-based companies. I mean, as far as I know, it really doesn't. So I'm a fresher and chose application engineering role at a company. Then after 1 or 2 years, will big MNCs be interested in offering me suite? So, Anshuman, honestly, these tags really mean nothing, right? Don't mean much. Not nothing. I would say don't mean much until you are doing uh, the job which the other company wants. Like if I talk to you about application engineering at Google, there are different teams doing different work, being application engineers, right? Some are Salesforce application engineers, Salesforce application engineers. Some are SAP application engineers. Some are data engineer, application engineer, data application engineer, I think. That's what they call it. Then we are generic application engineers, right? Uh, so even with generic application engineers, they have different projects where they do different work. I have been fortunate to get really good work. I have created applications from scratch. We have got production issues which we have resolved. We have uh, catered to certain scalability issues which we had. Then all these things. And if you can put that thing in your resume, that what you have done, what impact you have created, uh, I don't think being an application engineer or a SWE is really very different. Because I mean, while I was an application engineer at Oracle, I may have worked on projects which were better than few SWEs have worked in Oracle. Or I'm pretty sure the projects which I have worked in Google, right, and the kind of responsibilities I have assumed in Google are could be more than what a SWE would have done, right? Uh, I mean, not every, generally speaking, but there could be certain Swiss, right? So it really doesn't matter. I mean, what tag you have, but the thing which really matters is what you are doing, how you are contributing, making an impact, and what exactly. What and how exactly you are, showing it on your resume. I think quantifying is really important. I mean, how are you quantifying your work on your resume? That's really, really important. Biotech to SD, does companies allow, provided DSA and dev knowledge is decent? So Bitan Atarsi. So in my introduction, I didn't mention, but I was actually a biotech engineer from NIT Durgapur. I did 4 years of biotech engineering. My first job was actually TCS. And you know what? I have juniors in my college right now who are in some of who are in contact with me. Uh, Not exactly in contact, but they have contacted me. So they are from biotech as well, and they want to pursue computer science. Uh, right? And I think they are doing great. I mean, much better than I'm doing right now. I mean, they have really good projects, they have nice internships, and they're doing good. And I don't know why wouldn't a company want to hire them? I mean, if they are not hired, they're lost. DS and dev knowledge is decent. I would say uh, just decent might not work for you because uh, decent might work for an IT or a CSA engineer because they don't have to prove themselves. You being from biotech, you need to prove yourself. So just a decent resume wouldn't work for you, in my opinion. It may work, but I would say, you know, go just beyond decent. Be a bit better than decent. How is work-life balance at product-based companies? Work-life balance. It really depends uh, from project to project. Not even it doesn't even depend on company. It actually depends from project to project. So in Amazon, we have heard that people have very bad work-life balance, right? But that is actually not the case. There are I have heard from people. I mean, there is a friend, my friend's friend, right? He works in Amazon, and my friends say that he can get holiday whenever he wants to. No one stops him from taking a holiday, and he seems chill. I talked to him as well, and I said that, this is what I heard about Amazon. He said, uh, that doesn't happen in my project, and what you are saying is kind of it's a bit of a hyperbolic. But then again, uh, there are so many posts about poor work-life balance in Amazon. Though the experience which I heard from that friend was totally different. Then we have another member in our team from Amazon. I asked them whether uh, work-life balance in Amazon is really worse, and they responded with a very beautiful answer. So the work-life balance actually lies with the person. It doesn't really matter with the company. Uh, so that was really a good answer in my opinion. But then other than that, from a generic perspective, I would say it really depends upon what kind of project you're working on. Plus, there are few there are few points in life when you are waking up till 5 a.m. If there is a production issue, if there's a production launch, big production launch, right? Uh, we have spent nights, right? We have also worked uh, at a stretch for 24 hours, right? But then there have been days when we are not doing anything. We are just chilling, right? So both things are there. Hi, Siddhant. The next is, are Google interviews harder? Well, from a general perspective, Google interviews are supposed to be are considered hard, but uh, let me let me give you a perspective here. So even before, I mean, when I started interviewing and preparing for interviews, I was actually rejected by a lot of companies. Uh, a lot of companies which people might not even apply for, right? There were startups who were not paying as good as Google. I was rejected by them. I mean, I wasn't completely prepared by that time, but still I was rejected, right? Uh, I have been rejected by Amazon as well. Uh, I'm still exactly not sure. I didn't receive a complete feedback, but then I mean, I have been rejected, right? I wasn't good enough for those companies, but then I was decent for Google, right? I still think there was a mistake, but uh, we can say that Google interviews are in general harder than other companies. Things have changed in past few years since Google is hiring at a large scale. Even with Amazon, I've heard that the standards have gone down. But if we talk about if we say generally, yes, Google interviews are a bit hard, and it also depends on the team which you are going to work on. So certain teams have harder interviews than others. The next question is, as a fresher not getting projects, although my performance was best throughout till the project sub. Arshal and Noor. So, Arshal, it will happen, yeah. I mean, as a fresher, there can be scenarios when you are not getting many projects, or the projects which you are getting are the ones which have been, rejected by the seniors. But one of the things I would like to say here is that it happens, right? There is a specific amount of phasing which happens in corporate as well. It shouldn't happen, but let's say, I mean, it does happen. So what we can do here is that first of all, whatever projects, whatever things you are getting, make sure that you learn them well. You don't learn them just to deliver them. You learn them well, and just keep on learning yourself as well about the project or generally for about technology, right? And go to your manager, nag them that you look, I'm bored with what the kind of work you're providing me. I want something new, something better. Now, let's say if they don't provide you that work even after 6 to 8 months, which, right? They don't care about your career, don't care about them. You have, and you have already skilled yourself up, right? During that time, so you can simply leave. Don't wait for them really. If they can't respect your career, you don't have to bother about them, or don't wait for them. Just be at the level where you can choose where to be. Couple Chaurasia and Anshuman have deleted their messages. Joining voice chat at Discord. Uh, Voice chat at Discord. I think Siddha will do that thing at some other point. I don't know how to do that. If you have done it, let's not do it on Discord right now. We'll do that at some on some other day. I'm really not that I'm really not that good with Discord, to be honest. I'm a bit of a boomer in that case. I appeared for the intern role interview. You can DM me on Discord. Cool. These two folks know each other on Discord when I know them. Siddhant Khare, I know Siddhant Khare. Siddhant Khare has contributed to our interview, our give back repository as well with C code and with tests as well. Thanks, Siddhant. Uh, Abhishek Joshi asks, is it manageable to prepare for UPSC and work in product-based companies simultaneously? I'm thinking of preparing for UPSC seriously, like leaving job after 3 years in corporate sector. Abhishek Joshi, what I would say here is that it really depends upon what kind of uh, what kind of time you get after work, right? And how much time do you need for your preparation for UPSC, and it really depends upon how you can manage your time. If you are able to manage your time between the studies and the job you have, then I would say go ahead and do your job. And let's say if you see that you are not able to do it, then I would say leave it, right? Now let's just assume that uh, one of the other options is that say you work for a year or 2 or 3 years. You have already worked for 3 years, I'm assuming. So if you have worked for 3 years and if you have enough savings with you, I would say why not leave your job for a year or two, try it out, and if it doesn't work, you can again join. You can again join the sector, right? You are not away from that sector for a long time. One of one of the things which I have seen that people really struggle with is that they are not they are not there with that sector. I mean, they get what do you, they get separated with the corporate sector, right? So maybe you can avoid that, but again, that's just my opinion, totally upon you. Saptarshi Ganguly says, I have been assigned the role of data engineer in TCS, but I want to switch to dev. How can I make my CV appealing enough for companies to at least provide me the online assessment link? So, Saptarshi, I would say that your profile is really good. Data engineering uh, is as good as software development engineer, I would say, and they have a really different kind of responsibility and job. So being a data engineer, I mean, it also depends what kind of job you're doing as a data engineer. It doesn't mean that you are doing what I'm thinking you are doing, but let me give you a brief about what data engineer is, all right, and what are the basic responsibilities of a data engineer is. Uh, I will tell you in brief, but it can be a huge topic to discuss upon. So a data engineer means that you would be dealing with large amount of data, right? Gigabytes, terabytes of data, and you would be creating pipelines which will be ingesting data from different systems. You would be processing data, transforming data to be, to your downstream processes, and you would be uh, uh, creating analytics. Maybe not, you might not be creating analytics, but then you would be pushing that data in the format which analysts or data scientists want in those downstream systems, and then you would be creating what do you call it? And you would be using Tableau and other tools which are used for displaying that data, right? So it's really an interesting field. However, if you still think that you're not a data guy, but you are an SDE guy, do certain projects, whichever software engineering role suits you, or you think you are interested in, uh, go for that. But I think data engineering in itself is not really bad. I mean, considering what kind of work you're getting, but that is what a data engineer is. I've really heard that in certain projects, uh, that's not what data engineers are doing. They're just working with certain Excels or small data and calling and give and people are giving those profiles and people are calling those profiles as data engineers. If that is the case, then leave it. Uh, Prepare data structures and algorithms, or prepare yourself with certain frameworks. If you know Java, go with Spring Boot. If you are a UI guy, go with React, Angular, Vue, whatever you want to do, right? Go with it and switch. I mean, if you're not doing what I just mentioned, data engineer will do. Abhishek Joshi says, I will graduate in 2022. Oh, Abhishek Joshi. So if you'll graduate in 2022, then I would say, I don't know what to say. I would say save for a year or two and then leave your job. If your job is high paying, then I would say be in your job for a year or two. You would be saving enough money so that then you can drop and then you can go ahead, support yourself and uh, prepare as well. And then if you can come back since you have certain industry experience, you can again join the industry, right? Just as a backup plan. You should always have a backup plan. I mean, don't go by the theory of it. If you don't have a backup plan, you would perform better, but that doesn't work like that, right? Considering if considering the acceptance rate of UPSC. Ronak asks, apart from DSA, what are the things were asked in the Oracle and Google interview? Can you share your experience? So, I mean, Google interview for application engineers, system design and system integration are two things which have been emphasized on very much. Uh, Apart from that, in Oracle, Oracle has an online assessment. I don't know whether they still have it or not, but they used to have it as a normal process. That online assessment used to ask concepts around OOPS, DBMS, operating system, which I know nothing about. I mean, operating system I'm talking about. Then they have another round of LNR, logical and reasoning. So, and after that, we had face-to-face interviews. In face-to-face interviews, Oracle usually Oracle is known to ask puzzles as well, just to test your analytical abilities. Then I was asked a really basic data structure question. I wasn't really good with data structure at that time as well, but the question was really simple, and I could solve it with linear time complexity. So I was good with that. Then they asked me a few questions around core Java. I was pretty confident in core Java even then. Not anymore. So that was a pretty decent interview for me. Then there was a managerial round, which was sparsely technical as well. They asked me about recursion and asked me to give. So the manager asked me, "Do you know about recursion? And what is the difference between recursion and iteration, and why one is discouraged over the other?" Right. So I answered these questions. Then they asked me, "Can you give me an example of recursion from real life?" I mean, I could have answered water cycle or something, but the thing which hit me was I had watched Inception a few days back. I said, we can consider Inception being a recursion. So you have a dream, you go inside a dream, and then inside that dream you can have another dream, and you can't come out of the last dream unless you can't come off your dream if you don't come out of your last dream. So kind of a stack, kind of a stuff. It was kind of crazy. So Kapil Chaurasia asks, if you prepare by self and able to clear interviews, there is a fear inside if we couldn't perform well in initial time, they will fire as we don't have hands-on experience. How to get this experience? Yeah, I think so. Kapil, I think what you mean is if you're preparing by yourself and you're not able to perform well in the initial time, as you don't have hands-on experience, right? You may get rejected. So, uh, let me. I'm not exactly sure what is the perspective here, but let me answer it from different perspectives. All right. So the first thing is, let's just say if you are going for interview in a company which is asking you about a particular framework or a particular technology, which you may not have worked hands-on, but you have read it and you are going for interview. Definitely, uh, they would be able to catch you. Hope I mean, if they're interviewing you well. But uh, let's say if you are going for such roles, I would say be hands-on, else don't apply for such roles, because from my experience, I have experience in going to those interviews, and I mean, I have bombed them like anything, right? It's not a really good experience. Now let's talk about things like data structures and algorithms. Hands-on experience doesn't really matter in data structures and algorithms. Most of us don't use data structures and algorithms in real projects. Uh, Talking about myself, I may have used it only a handful of times in my in my past 7 years experience, 7.5 years now. So go ahead. The next thing is the other thing is, let's talk about system design. People say that I don't have hands-on experience in system design. How can I do an interview in system design? So let's say even if you don't have an experience in system design, the important part in system design is that, do you know when should a design be used and when should a design not be used? That is the important question, and that is the important thing you should be knowing. When to not use something, right? And when to use something else. If you know these concepts, I think in system design you're good, right? You don't exactly need the hands-on experience, and interviewers and companies know it very well that not everyone can work on high scale systems or do design or stuff like that. You can do small designs. That's totally acceptable to companies. But then when talking about interviews, you should know uh, your concept. You don't need to be hands-on. Kaustubh says, "Hello sir, I am in seventh semester. I didn't have any idea about DSA, but now I have what I should do now. I'm decent in DSA and Dev. How should I prepare now? I'm really scared." So Kaustubh, you are in seventh semester. You shouldn't be scared. You have a lot of time. You are in your final year. There's not much classes, just few labs. I hope so. I mean, if it's still the way it is, uh, go learn DSA, do Dev, do freelancing and other stuff like that. Don't don't be scared. You would do good. What is your username, Siddhant Khare? Guys. Okay. Okay. Prithvish Das asks, "Sir, my current company has a notice period of 3 months. So do product-based companies wait for someone like me who has a 3-month notice period in his or her current company?" Usually, product-based companies know that you have that kind of notice period, and they would wait. However, I mean, uh, it can be kind of it can be kind of a deal breaker for certain companies, right? I mean, if they are kind of startups, it could be a deal breaker, but usually for even for unicorns or big startups or product-based companies, if they're looking for someone good, and if they have to wait for 3 months, they may wait for 3 months, right? Because uh, if they have tested you, they know that you're good, they would certainly hire you. So Google A versus Amazon SWE, what should be a better choice for a fresher? Uh, I really don't know. So, I mean, anything is good. Like I mentioned, the tag doesn't matter to me. I mean, for me personally, I've worked as a developer while I was while my tag was IT consultant, right? I have seen people doing simple config changes while their role said developer. Uh, and so for me personally, the tag doesn't matter much. You can join any company. Just make sure that whatever you're doing is you are happy with it and you like what you're doing. Vice versa, rejected by Google selected. Amazon, game on. That's funny. Anshi says, "I got a call from Google in my last year but got rejected. Now I am 1.5 years experience. How can I apply?" So Anshi, if your interview experience was good, I mean, not your, but if interviewers liked you at that point of time, if they felt that you lagged a bit somewhere or the other, they may call you again after some time. Although if they didn't find you, uh, uh, you know, if they find that you were lacking a lot, they just may not call you. But what you can do is you can apply on their career site or ask someone for referral. Not me. I'm not referring anyone right now. I mean, if someone has asked me for referral, they know this particular line. Rohan Salian says, "Got a non-coding job, first job, and out of placement. Okay, want to settle in coding, including coding included job in future. Don't have direct experience. Worried if this will affect." Roshan, quit your job as soon as possible. Build your resume, build your profile. I mean, if you want to do a backend job, create certain projects in backend. If possible, do certain open source projects. Right? Switch to a company. Right? Switch as soon as you can. Don't remain there. The more time you spend, the worse it's going to be. Right? If you know any amount of data structures and algorithms, since you're fresher, it doesn't matter what kind of experience you have had. They wouldn't care. Uh, Apply for companies, right? But don't stay there for long. Okay. So if someone chooses application engineering role at a big MNC, will he end up earning at par with Swiss from big MNCs in a few years of span, or it will be lesser? Um, it depends. Uh, Usually, from my experience, what I've seen is application engineers, Swiss have a higher pay scale than application engineers, but it's not that high. It also depends upon what kind of offer you have had earlier. To be honest, my pay scale has been really low since I have started from TCS, and even with really good hikes, my pay scale is not exactly there, which could have been. But uh, it really depends upon your uh, pay scale which you have had in past, right? If product-based companies like Google, Amazon, they really give you competing offers, and they would give you can have more salary than Swiss. But usually, talking Swiss may have bit higher salaries than application engineers. Just it depends on project and kind of role as well. There are a lot of ifs and buts, and there are a lot of gray areas in it. So, I mean, don't perceive it black and white. Adding on to previous comment, is preparing only DSA fine, or I will have to show dev experience for a future coding role? Roshan, I mean, if you have for more than 1 year, if you have more than 1 year of experience, I would say uh, do some development, have some good projects, like I mentioned, put them on GitHub, showcase them on GitHub. If you have a good front end, if you are doing front end, deploy them on GitHub pages or Netlify or Google GCP, right? They are all free sources, and you can do that, right? buy buy a buy a cheap uh, domain, or even don't buy it, doesn't matter. Deploy it on GitHub pages or Netlify, but then have it and do some open source if you can. Siddhant Khare, okay. People are still talking about Discord here. Okay. By the way, thanks for sharing link on LinkedIn. I would have missed such a great session. I'm Utkarsh Singh. Hi Utkarsh. That's an interesting name, coding cerebro. Okay, Ronak asks, currently I'm having 9 months experience in startup working in Angular and backend is Node, but only issue is everything I'm working is it's a company it's a company it's in tool. That's really fine. Mostly everything is drag and drop. Oh, okay. And code gets generated. Actually, it's rapid application. Oh, rad. Okay. Any suggestion for me? Should I leave the organization? Oh, yes, Ron. If you're not learning anything, leave it. As simple as that. Prepare and leave, because you cannot jeopardize your career. Because if I've seen people, I mean, uh, after 7 years of experience in TCS, they are saying, I don't know what to do. I, I mean, back then I had just 2 years of experience, 1 year of experience, and I heard people talking about their experience like this. I mean, we have 7 to 8 years of experience. If we cannot perform well, we will be sacked, and I don't know what to do. And those were manager kind of people. They were managing their teams, they were build leads, but they didn't have any technical knowledge, and they had lost their technical. So that's a problem. Don't jeopardize it, right? Even in Oracle, I have seen few. I mean, in Oracle, that number is fewer, but still there were people, who did not scale up much, right? They have good technical prowess, right? I mean, they are technically good. They can do their job. They are still coding, but the point is they haven't skilled up much. So they have kind of a fear of, I mean, because Oracle fires people. They simply do. And if they get fired, right, there's a very less chance because the guys are doing a great job. But if even 0.01% chance, then they would face that problem, right? Don't leave that to a chance, skill yourself up, and you know that you always have options. And leave. Surely, leave. What should one see while choosing the first company to start job? Honestly, Puranjay, uh, for me, it was just, I mean, get an offer and join it. Uh, I really didn't have many offers with me, so I was like, I just wanted to get in a company for me. I mean, just get in there and then build. But for you, if you have more than one offers, I would say, I don't know if you know what kind of work you are doing. So if you know anything about the kind of work you're going to do, uh, you can choose what interests you, right? Uh, or who pays you better, right? I mean, pay really matters, at least to me. And if they are paying good, go there. If you don't like the work, switch. You would be paid higher anyway, right? And you may get a better work environment and better work as well. So, and a better pay. So all in all, if you are being paid well, and you are skilling yourself up, I think there is no problem. You should be good enough. But however, if you think you are not that disciplined, you may go for a company who is paying less but has good work, and then you can move up. I mean, okay, if you have more than one. Okay, I think I answered it. Shiv Sharma, hi Kaustav, if someone has 6 to 7 years of experience in service-based companies throughout their career in data engineering, how difficult will it be for them to switch to product-based company? Not at all difficult, Shiv Sharma. You are you are a unicorn, I would say, right now in the market. People are looking for data engineers a lot, and data engineers are actually in high demand. I hope you know about cloud. People are moving towards cloud for data engineering. Uh, Even if you don't know about cloud and you know about Hadoop, but then you know about things like Spark, and then you know things like Cassandra, maybe Hive, you know, SQL well. I think you still have a lot of opportunity. And if you can go for companies like Amazon or Google who ask DSA and system designers around data pipelines. So, and DSA is not that difficult for data engineers. Uh, they they're not really very difficult, but then they are still fairly difficult, I would say. But then the the thing where they will test you is around data pipelines in data engineering. If you are good with that, you have really good chance of going out in a product-based company. I would say start preparing. I mean, my colleague in TCS is switching from data engineering role, uh, being so they were in TCS. They have been in TCS for about 12 to 13 years, and they have worked as a developer throughout their life, right? And for past, when did I leave TCS? I had left TCS in 2017, and they joined me in that data engineering project. They joined the data engineering project with me, so it's been about 4 years. They have been data engineer, and they have already switched. I mean, they have offers with them. You can have offers with you as well. So go ahead, Shiva, prepare. All right, secure a job. As a fresher, what you suggest, permanent work, job, or work from home? What would what you suggest, permanent work from job or work? I think what you mean is work from home or work from office, Rana. I would say if I really do not like to work from home. The reason is when I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm at home, I'm at home. I can focus in that way. But I just can't juggle between work and home, parallelly. One of the reasons is my sister would come in after a few minutes. I would be thinking about something, some problem, and she would come. It seems like you're not doing anything. Can you cut veggies for me? And I would be saying, no, I'm busy. She would say, no, I just saw you were doing nothing, just thinking, with your chin up. Cut some vegetables, be of some use. So, these things happen while you are at home, and you really cannot ignore them. So, and apart from that, uh, I really prefer some human interaction while I'm at work, right? I just do not want it to be really, uh, very, very objective while with chats and few team sessions over Meet. I prefer working from office. Plus, Google has amazing food, which I'm missing, so I really want to go to office. Thanks. I will be soon doing my micro masters in AI MLDS from MIT. Amazing. Is it good to take any opportunity that comes in between the program, or should I wait and aim for MS result? Uh, Utkarsh, I would say it really depends. What do you want to do? Uh, Honestly, if you're going to a good company and you are learning AI MLDS, and if you want to go in that area, I would say make up your mind what you want to do first, right? You really want to go and you don't want to work anywhere else. I wouldn't have done that. I would have gone to a better opportunity, and then once I would have learned AI, ML, or DS, I mean, just make sure whether you want to learn AI, ML, or DS first, right? All three areas are very, very different. Uh, then once I would have been in a good company, I would have contributed via AI, ML, and DS, would have done certain projects. I would have had good work experience. Then I would have shifted to a project which deals with these technologies. Let's say if I'm not getting any opportunity, then I would have already contributed to my project using these technologies. Then I would have showcased my work on my resume and then moved to a different company. Yeah, but keep on hopping while you can, because it will certainly pay you better and maybe give a good work as well. They are assuring interview at the end of the program. I'm concerned if I will miss that if I'm hired by some company before that. Okay. I don't. If you're doing a micro masters and you are working at a different company altogether, and you get interviewed there, I think they would wait for your notice period. That should not be a problem. Dream follower, amazing name. Could you please share how you prepare for Google while working at an Oracle? So, working in whatever I was working in Oracle with, I mean, that was really easy for me because we were I had already done that work. We were mostly migrating our AND projects to Maven, and then there were certain bug fixes and REST services. And uh, most of the things are, monotonic to me, and I had done that a lot previously, so things didn't used to take much time for me. So I used to do that quickly, and then I used to do DSA. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I did DSA for 3 to 4 months, and I used to do DSA for about 14, 16 hours daily, uh, including weekends. I used to take, later I took one weekend off. I used to take Sunday off, uh, but I included Saturday in my practice. But then, yeah, and I used to take breaks as well in the middle. So make sure that you do that. How is Siemens held in years? Okay, I go full stack. I got full stack role, good package, also interning there. Do you know anything about that company? I think Siemens, if you're in Siemens health sector, I think it's really good. Uh, 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 I know someone who works in Siemens healthcare sector. Uh, I I guess their offices are in Pune. I think that's it's a good job, and you would get to learn a lot there. Engineering manager versus principal member of technical staff. Okay. Difference in role and work given the years of experience is. Uh, I really don't know. I see a lot of member of technical staff people right now. I really don't understand this role. I've seen this role being popping up on my LinkedIn feed. It's kind of different, but I can tell you a bit about engineering manager, what it actually is. So Engineering managers are basically managers who manage engineers. Yeah. So apart from that, what it really means is it's basically a people's manager. An engineering manager would be leading few basically an engineering team working across projects, and an engineering manager would be expected to have past technical experience, good past technical experience, and they would be tested also on people management skills. So we go to our engineering managers if you have any problem with if you have to talk about career or whatever people managers are for, and then we also talk to them about technical stuff. So they can be used for both the things. Any updates of the on that scheduler project for mock interviews we were planned? Yeah, Siddhant. So I was kind of busy for past 1 month. I was traveling, getting some maintenance work done. I got ill with dengue. Things were not very good at that time. I just returned to Hyderabad and will start working. I asked folks on Discord to create a technical design doc and I'll review it, but I don't think anyone has created it. The functional document I asked, but no one created, but we had a functional document ready, so I just added it to the GitHub repository. But I think the group is more or less cold right now. Maybe I'll try to write a design doc, and if you're interested, we can work together. We don't need to wait for the group. Karthik Kotnala says, big fan from Germany. So Karthik Kotnala is my friend, and I bribed him to come to my session. Not really. Not really. He doesn't take bribes. He just takes treats. He doesn't call them bribes. Dream follower says, thanks for answering. Can you also please share? Have you also gone through paid questions? If complete. Uh, no, dude. I don't do paid things for learning. I think there is a lot of free content available, and that's enough. You don't need to do. I mean, you don't need to pay for stuff if you have enough time, I would say. But or if you are organized enough. I'm a big uh, proponent of free learning. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go to it, I mean, Puranjay asks, you did DSA for 14 hours per day. Did I hear it right? Yes, Puranjay, it was 14 hours per or 16 sometimes. I used to sleep for 4 to 5 hours at max. And even while eating, I was watching videos for 1 month. Then, my body gave up. So I made some changes to my schedule, and then things started getting better. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you think you can do 14 hours a day and you can sustain it, I think I doubt people can do it. I mean, even if you can do it, I would say don't do it, because I tried and I saw what are the repercussions. Dant Khare asks, any thoughts on developer advocate DevRel roles? Really, dude, I don't know what these tags mean. What does a developer advocate means? They are, I mean, I really don't know what that really. I mean, and there are a lot of roles cropping up from here and there. All the resources from where you prepare for Google interviews. So Dream Follow, I used a lot of resources there, and and I don't like to tell exactly what resources I use. First of all, the reason is I do not want you to be stuck at those resources. Explore it. Try 2 or 3 resources, practice it, see if it works out for you, right? And then continue it. The most important thing is being consistent and continuing it. And pick your own poison, right? Something worked for me doesn't mean it would work for you. Doesn't at all work like that. So and explore it. That's what you would be doing your entire life being a software engineer. Explore things, fail, fail fast, and be consistent. Ronak, as you suggested to leave organization now, current experience 9 months, already having 5 LP CTC, currently got 7 LP from another startup, permanent work from home, work from office. Should I grab the opportunity or wait for 4 5 months and prepare for product-based company? I don't know, Ronak. It's totally your own decision. I would say the point here is what is your aim, right? How much money do you want to make? You have to decide upon that. If you think you want to go from 5 to 7 and then to more companies, go ahead. You can do that. People do that. Or if you want, I just want to go. I mean, I just want to hit the zenith at the first go. You can do that as well. You may have to spend some time, but the point is, it is totally, I think, your decision, and I would not like to influence it. I can give you options. We can talk on LinkedIn more about it in more details if you want to. But the point is, it's your decision, right? I do not want to be cursed later for a suggestion I made. Yeah, that's it. Did you do competitive programming also? Is it required for interviews? Advanced concepts like segment trees? I did not do any competitive programming. I think. I mean, even if I did, I didn't do much. Maybe a bunch of questions, but not much. The point is it required for interviews? It is not required for interviews, but if you do CP, it does help in your interview. So, I mean, uh, consider it, uh, consider it like protein shakes. If if you if you do, if you're a workout kind of a guy, right? You can get proteins from your regular diet, but then you again take protein shakes just to compensate or supplement your diet. So that's what CP is. It's not going to hurt you if you're doing enough DS and you're learning the concepts. But what CP actually does is you are doing so much of CP, and so it basically enforces your knowledge. You kind of get better. That's the general idea around having to do CP, but then it definitely isn't required. Coding Cerebrum asks, okay, got it. Thanks a lot. I will follow your advice, add to projects open source, and aim for Google altogether. Also, I was convinced that people go from DS to ML and then AI role in Google. If you from DS, if you mean data science to ML, that's totally different roles, I would say. Uh, so machine learning is different, and data science is different. Uh, if you are a data scientist, then you need to have a lot of context around what you're doing. As in, you need to have a very good domain knowledge about what you're doing. However, if you're a machine learning engineer, you don't need to know that. You don't need to know. Don't need to have a domain knowledge necessarily. However, if you're talking about AI, AI is again kind of a different tangent. I mean, things are very close in data science, ML, and AI, and people kind of use them interchangeably. But when you go inside it, things are a bit different. So I would say just learn about it a bit and get to know what the nuances are about these terms and choose one, follow it. I'll focus more on ML part here on and will try my best. Okay. Oh, you just mentioned it. Sorry. Controversial question, Siddhant Khare. I think he mentioned about CP. Yes, it's a controversial question, but the point is, you know what? I mean, listen to people, listen to me, and 10 other people, but do what you think is best for you. No one can, you know, people can say, you should do this, you should do that, but at the end of the day, it's your own career, and you shouldn't really be depending upon other people on your for your own career, right? By the way, I have just started. I have done around 90 questions, started having chat with you on LinkedIn. All right, Puranja, I think we have started a chat. I'm sorry if I don't remember. I get a lot of chats in the entire day, but yeah, if we have started chatting, you can ping me whatever difficulties you're having, or in any way I can help. Although I need to start my DSA thing myself, but yeah, let's see. From where can I learn object-oriented programming? That's a really good question. Uh, Internet, search on Google, right? It also depends upon which language you're using. The patterns change a lot from language to language. Like I tried to use oops a lot in JavaScript, but it fails me in some way or the other, so I stopped. But then it really depends upon from language to language. And search in Google, go for books. You would find a lot of resources. Don't ask me what is the best book. Read books, right? If you don't like a book, just leave it there. Or if you have bought it, maybe complete it. If it's a free resource, then leave it there and start reading something else. You'll always learn something new. So how is your experience in on-site as compared to offshore? Any plans to move abroad? Well, on-site, it was really good experience. Kapil, I got paid a lot more. So, I mean, a lot. I mean, compared to TCS, what I was earning on onshore, it was about 10 times. So it was it was a really good experience. Plus, I mean, I visited London for the first time, or any place outside India for the first time. So it was really good experience. Plus, I was leading a team from on-site at about 1.5 years of experience, which was amazing. Uh, I was leading people who were more experienced than me as well. So, and I was a counterpart for my build lead at offshore who had about 7 years of experience. And I was talking to our clients. I was talking about designs. I was talking about timelines, talking about resourcing. That at that experience, it was really good, I would say. Not bad at all. All right. So work from home, work from office versus hybrid. Work from office route. For me, it's work from office. I don't like to work from home. I I mean it has been hybrid for me anyway. Whenever I don't, I mean, for not much in Oracle or in Google, I haven't tried it, but then point is, uh, the offices give us laptops, and hybrid kind of work for us then and now as well. I have worked in hybrid situation while I was in Oracle. I was working from home for about a month, and then I joined office. So I think for me, work from office is the best thing for me. For me, the human interaction really matters. I matters as in I just like to do that thing, right? How to be good at backend system design and resources for the same. Anil, Anil, how to be good at backend? I don't know if there is a secret for it, but the point is you practice. Backend coding. If you're talking backend coding, you practice, right? You read. We have to read a lot about different designs, different concepts in books, articles, places. System design, I would say the first place to learn system design is your own project. You could be working on a small part of a large project, so try to get the exposure of that entire project, right? Resources for same. What's a Google it, dude? I mean, Google system design books, right? System design resources. Go on YouTube. There are tech talks uh, where people have failed and then they have recovered from those failures. Amazing talks, right? Uh, People from Amazon, Facebook, Reddit, then from Google, they have given talks about various things, right? They have talked around uh, Node.js and that engine, which I cannot recall. I totally forget that name, JavaScript engine, which Google uses. Can anyone ping it here on chat if anyone remembers that name? Whatever it is, right? There are talks about it, right? We can go and read it. Uh, how to read large code base at new job? That's an interesting question. How to read? I mean, that's practice, dude. Just keep reading code. Keep reading it, I would say. Usually, what happens is when you get projects and you have to learn how it previously used to work, what are the different connections with that particular code base which are going to change. I think it comes to you uh, slowly and gradually. Don't try to read the entire code base. You shouldn't really. Just read the part which you have to read and keep on exploring. If you are, if you, so one of the key things is uh, track from a button click, right? I mean, that was for us when we were using JSF, but then track track from a REST service, right? And know how it handles functionally. You know how what it does functionally. So track that one REST service and then go through your code, reach the end of the code where it does the final operation, and then go back about the responses, how it okay, then you know, okay, then how the responses come back. So you know that how the code is actually written, right? Almost any code in any other functionality would be written in almost the same way. So if you know just one flow, I think you can read any other flow, right? There are always exceptions in large code bases, but then more or less this is what you'll need to do, in my opinion. At what point do you realize, and I lost that question. Okay, I got it. At what point do you realize that you had enough DSA prep and started appearing apply for interviews? I never did. Well, the point is, I had put my resume on LinkedIn, on Naukri, and I started getting calls. I had already cracked few companies based on DSA. Uh, Other companies using DSA. So I had this confidence that I can crack certain kind of companies. Now, my aim was to go ahead for other companies, right? So that's the strategy which I took. And the point is, Google interview takes a lot of time. So I mean, it took about 3 months for the entire process. I mean, till not the entire process, till my last interview day. So I had enough time at that particular point, enough time to you know prepare myself. And I think the only uh, weak part for me was DSA because I believe that my system design was decent uh, even at that time. So that was the weakest link in my entire thing. So I gave a lot of emphasis around DSA only. Ronak, you have good experience in the industry. I am interested to hear your opinion. If you influence also in something, I am pretty sure वो सही होगा. नहीं भाई, not necessarily. You should, the thing is, if you are making a mistake, it should be your decision. And if your decision works out, it's good. But even if it doesn't work out, it's your decision. You should always be content with that. That's my opinion. Puranja, I am only able to solve 3 out of 10 questions lead code medium myself. For other, I see editorials and then do it. Is it normal? How to improve? I have done 90 questions in total. Puranja, yeah, it's completely normal, I would say. Things get shitty uh, while doing lead code, and you may not be able to solve each and every medium question. That's totally normal. And the point is, once you read editorials, you should understand the concept behind it, right? If you understand the concept, I think it should be good, right? checking the answers is not a bad thing, but understanding the concept behind it is important. Communication skills is fine, or need to focus more. Yeah, dude, you need to focus a lot on communication skills because I mean, it would not impact you directly, but point is, you should be able to communicate with the other person. क्या कहते हैं? You shouldn't be you shouldn't be standing there like a statue or something when you're talking with your team, right? You should be able to communicate your ideas well. The language doesn't matter much. I mean, you can do it in English or in your own language. But the point here is you should be able to communicate well. Although language, English matters when you have cross-regional teams. It really matters, and it can be a barrier at certain points. But then make sure that you're talking to people. You are being start from being nice, I would say. Right? Start from being nice, and things would get better. Aditya Teletia asks me, do you get nervous before entering team meets? I used to. So, but the thing is, this fear I've lost that fear from my time in TCS itself because, like I mentioned, right, I had been dealing with clients face to face from about 1.5 years of experience to 2 years of experience. So I had lost that fear there. I could speak in front of people, who were doing postmortems around problems. They were asking me and firing questions. Why did it not happen? I was in those situations as well. Plus, we had discussions about we have to deliver it by this time. How can we do it? How can we manage resourcing? We discussed about that as well. So initially, it was a problem, but then you have to understand one thing. If you want to succeed, you have to get over certain inhibitions. I was, I am an introvert, but the point is, at that point of time, it's either my career, my job, or my nature. I choose, I do not choose my nature. I like to be alone, right? But when it's my job, it's my career, I, you know, try to keep my inhibitions aside, and then this channel should get more reach. Yes, Anil Raj. Yes, V8. Right. We were talking about Node.js and stuff. Right. Although Dream Follower, I do not like to endorse my channel. I rarely endorse my channel even on LinkedIn. Uh, Probably when I have better content to show, maybe I'll endorse it then. But right now, I have been doing mock interviews and these live sessions. Maybe any tech software engineer, software developer blogs. Medium, go Medium. Then I have read D Zone. There are good articles in D Zone. Baildung has good Java. I mean, most of these are Java things. Then apart from that, if you're learning any technology, go and read their documentation. That's really underrated thing we do, but go and read the documentation. Currently working on .NET in job. Should I also work on Java or tech stack doesn't matter? Gaurav Sharma asks question. Gaurav, honestly, I mean, Java is a better language, right? .NET. Jokes apart, I mean, language really doesn't matter, but the point is your concepts should be strong, right? You can switch to any other language if you want to. That's how your concepts should be. You should be able to pick up a language within a week or 2 weeks or a month, right? That should be your aim. And if you're able to do that, the language should really doesn't matter because uh, the language should really don't matter because you know your concepts well, right? And you can switch to any language. The nuances of that language and to be a master or not be master to be really good at that language, it will take time, but then you can start with any language at any point of time. I would say concept is something which is more important than tech stack or a language, but then you should seriously know about more than one language at least because every language has a different concept by which it works, so it kind of helps. Like if people do not really like Ruby on Rails or PHP, but I have felt that the concepts with which they work are amazing, right? And these concepts have recently come in Java via via Spring Boot. those were really not there. I think it's good to learn different languages and frameworks. Ram Sham says, tired of doing DSA. Anything else I can work on now? System design, design pattern, anything else? Ram Sham, yes, sure. I mean, sure. I mean, uh, you can certainly learn something else. You should not stick to just DSA. Learn design patterns, learn system design. You know, uh, make your learning a cocktail of different topics. You may just enjoy it. When will you do next resume review? I don't know, Puranjay. Honestly, um, maybe I'm trying to do these live sessions every month now. Let's see if maybe we can do some point in December, but well before holidays, maybe somewhere mid of December. Let's see. Front end versus back end versus full stack career growth. Devashish Devna. I mean, Devashish, to be very honest, in my opinion, we should be able to do anything. If it's front end, we can do we should be able to do front end. If it's back end, we should be able to do back end. If it's databases, we should be able to do databases. If it's deployment, we should be able to do it. If you ask me, I'm kind of a jack of all, master of none. I think that's the phrase. I like that thing. I like to be part of each and everything. However, from a career perspective, growth, it really depends upon how good you are. So, I mean, if you are a full stack developer, and being a full stack developer means you must have worked on a lot of stuff, and you must have some knowledge of a lot of things. Being a front end developer means that you should be really, really good at what you're doing, right? You should be able to, mock the designs whichever have been provided to you exactly. You should be really good with the framework you're doing. You should know different your designs, your framework, UI framework should be really good, right? Plus, not the framework you are using, but the framework you are creating while developing that application. Plus, you should know what's happening in UI in recent years, right? WebAssembly, PWAs, things are cropping up right and left. Uh, know about these things. You should know how to make a really, really efficient web app, right? How is server-side rendering important for web apps when you're front-end engineer? Backend, if I say backend, then I really don't understand what a backend engineer means. Backend has this huge thing. I don't know really what a backend engineer. When people say backend engineer, what is their purview? But if let's say if just code and databases, you should be really good with databases. Let's say, right? As in when you should know, uh, you know, uh, small things in database, how to improve performance, how to make a query in database and stuff like that. You should know when you're designing your APIs or you're designing your systems, you should know how to design it to make it very, very, very functional, very, very, very performant and very, very reusable. Plus, you need to make sure that they are readable to your teammates as well, because you will definitely leave some bug and your teammate would be, they would be scraping their scalp understanding your code. And if they cannot understand your code and design, no matter how performant it is, it's it's just crap, because it cannot be improved, bugs cannot be solved. Low level design on your channel, could it help? Yes, Ram, it could help, but I should know that as well, right? I'll try to create some content, but I'm not right now really sure if I can teach something like that. AMD versus Texas Instruments versus analog devices about work culture in the world. I really don't know, dude. Uh, Check on Glassdoor or Indeed, right? You should get some idea around it. Read their comments. It really gives a good idea about a company, and I think they are pretty good resources to check that. How do you remember multiple tasks assigned to you? To-do lists help. How do you remember multiple? I mean, people keep pinging me about the progress. So my managers and my folks keep reminding me about my task. So that's how I remember them. Jokes apart, so we have, when we have a bug list, we assign a set of bugs to us. Whatever tasks we have to do in our sprint, we follow a sprint thing. We track it from there. If it's not there in our sprint, we don't do it. As simple as that. Unless if there is some production bug, of course. What do you look for in an individual profile if he or she asks for a referral? I honestly do not refer just like that. Uh, because I believe the concept of referrals is kind of different uh, for me. So a referral means that I'm vouching for a person I know, right? And I can refer for if there are in mass drives because and at at that time it's different. I'll tell you in a moment what I checked them. But the point is, if I have worked with you, right? That's why I created a Discord channel where I'm trying to collaborate with people, right? And if I find good people, I may refer them there. But the point is, I I avoid referring people whom I don't know or whom I haven't worked with. If I have worked with you, right, I will definitely refer you because I know how you have worked with me, right? If you are my friend, I would definitely refer you. It doesn't matter whether you have worked with me or not, right? I mean, it's just being a human, right? However, if I don't know you and if I haven't worked with you, I may just not refer you unless there is a mass drive, right? If there is a mass drive, I still may refer a few people. So in April, there was a hiring drive which happened at Google, and I referred about 50 people. I received more than 300 resumes. One thing I checked was how are they writing their resumes, right? How much impactful work they have. If I see that they have impactful work, I pick them. If I see that they have, I also ask them if they have actually prepared for their interviews. They have any DSA profiles, any profiles where they have practiced DSA. I have asked for that. If they have provided it, I have considered them. If they haven't, I have again, not considered those profiles. However, there are certain profiles uh, which which are meant to have some DSA knowledge. Like I received certain resumes from Qualcomm or Amazon or Microsoft or Adobe, right? These people usually have some DSA experience. So even if they did not provide me any concrete evidence of their DSA practice, I considered them only if they had good experience. I mean, good experience as in only if they had provided certain metrics around their impact of their work. Right? For other profiles, I have asked them from other companies which usually do not require DSA. It was mandatory for them to send me their profiles, else they would be rejected. So that is what I usually check in profiles. First of all, whether they have a relevant work ex or not, and whether they have proper impact on it. Because the reason is Google recruiters would simply reject those resumes which don't have those things, right? And if they cannot find any relevance to the job profile they are applying for, it's kind of tricky. I mean, even out of 50 or 60 resumes which I referred, uh, only a few of them were moved to next level, and out of 50 there were just two people who were actually offered jobs. All right, so that's really bad. And believe me, there were people from Amazon and other companies who were rejected, and not the and you wouldn't expect and the people who got offers from Google were from uh, huge. They were not really huge names. The companies were not really huge names. So things happen. Many companies during interviews look for code quality. What are the important points? Just write production ready code, dude. I would say your variable names should be good. If you're Your indentation should be correct, right? Your code should be modular. If it is required, you should create 100 lines of code for a method. These small things, the things which you are following in your organization, if you are experienced. If not, I mean that these are the things that usually which usually one follows. Do they have teams in Google India working on Linux kernel? How to find out? I really don't know if there is a team for Linux kernel. I mean, I don't know uh, what team it is, but there should be some team for Linux kernel who actually works at Linux kernel. I'm not sure if it is there in India or where in the world it is, to be honest, and I really don't know how to. Maybe try to Google it, Quora it, put a post on Reddit. All right, try to try to do that. Try to post it on the internet. You may find some answer to that, Puranjay. Many companies. Okay, I just answered this question. Project ideas for 1 2 years experienced React developers. Dude, you don't need a project idea. Uh, a lot of people ask me, give me a project idea which will land me a job. There is no such thing. Do a project, right? I mean, you see a lot of problems with everyday life. Solve a solved problem, right? But then tell you why did you solve it? Why did you create that project? What was the impact you wanted to create with that project? Do it. It's fine. Do anything which can showcase your knowledge and which can showcase that you are trying to solve a problem. You're just not trying to create another demo project or another dummy Netflix or LinkedIn or whatever. Right? Try to solve a problem and showcase your knowledge, right? Dummy projects are good for showcasing how good you are with UX, how good you are with UI, and you're good with stuff. But then it doesn't show your problem-solving skills. It really doesn't. At least to me. Any non-coding hobby that you have? I've killed them all. Ram. I've killed my all non-coding habits. Time has killed it. So I have a guitar right here, which I bought last year. I tried to learn it for about 2 months. Then I shifted home. I packed it and I never opened it. I like to sing. Uh, I like to draw. I like to read books. And I do none of them. At least I sing when I'm bathing, whenever I'm bathing. Right. So, kind of, I've killed most of my hobbies, but I'm trying to again pick them up. Let's see. Yeah, they were side projects. Can you share the Discord link, please? Aditya, sure. I'll share the Discord link. Siddhant, if you're still there, you can share the Discord link in the comments if possible. Or if you're not there, I will try to do it. I don't know. Let me try. Let me try. Give me a minute. Books that I would recommend. Let me get to you, Ram, in a minute. How to copy this thing? All right, let me go to my live now. Uh, yep, here it is. Let me. Yep, this is the Discord channel. Feel free to join it, and then be inactive like everyone else. All right. Now, how do you feel when your first code got merged into production? Really good, dude. I mean, I actually couldn't say it because it was a banking project. and I couldn't use that internet banking site because I did not have an account. But it felt good when people used it and showed it to me. It's a really amazing feeling because you know that you did something which people are going to use, definitely going to. It's a good feeling, I would say. How about non-coding? I love them all books that you. So if you mean coding books, I mean technical books. I mean go for anything. I mean there are a lot of books I would say which you can go to. It really depends on your knowledge. Uh, Not on your knowledge, on your interest. It really depends on your interest. And if you mean non-technical books, that I really don't know, dude. I have really, I don't have really any such, you know, kind of inclination towards particular genre. I have read different kinds of books, and I haven't really read a lot of them, to be honest. Although I say I like reading books because I used to read books when I was, when I was a kid. I read Harry Potter and Goosebumps mostly, and then I also tried Me Khan for and stuff like that. But then fictional, non-fictional stuff. Really don't have any such recommendations. Company like Hasura, Deep Source, who are technology driven, like building developer tools. Yeah, don't know what the question is. But then, yeah, those are good companies. I know of Hasura, but I'm not sure about Deep Source, what it does. Uh, but they are really doing some great things, and I really like such kind of tools. I I have tried to build smaller tools for developers in past, which can be of which can improve developer efficiency, and I kind of like to work around such tools. So one of the things which I realized while I was working as a data engineer was I had to learn a lot, right? And one thing I talked to my colleagues was that I do not want to learn another tool, but I want to develop a tool which others would learn, right? I just want to know the concepts and then develop a tool. So that is one of the thought processes I have, and I really want to do something like that. I've done it to a certain extent, but not really at scale. I'm not able to interact with team at new job. Any tips? Be nice. Like I mentioned, as in say a hello, hi, right? It really depends. If your new team was, I mean, it is actually responsibility of your team to interact with you, to be honest, and not the other way around. But talk to them. How are you doing? How is it? Can we have a discussion uh, around the project? Just talk about the project, get some insight around it. Slip in certain personal topics. Try to do that. It would help. Have you ever felt imposter syndrome at field or at workplace? Dude, uh, at Google, especially, I had this even in Oracle initially. So when I joined Oracle, I did not know REST services. I did not know REST services when I joined Oracle, and that's the truth. I did not know Spring Boot, but I was a Java developer. So, but and the point is, we our applications were REST applications. We had to develop REST applications. So I had to learn REST, and I just felt that should I be on this job at all? And then I had to build UI, and I had to build an application on my own from scratch. I had done none of those things, and people were very very casual while assigning that entire project. And I was like, can they are so casual? I don't know how to do it. Would I be able to do it? There were always doubts, but then you get over it. It was a quick one. It was a 1 or 2 months imposter syndrome in Oracle, but in Google it was more like 6 months to 1 year because I wasn't able to do anything. in Google, the technology stack is entirely different. The coding standards are at a different level. Uh, Everything which is being done here is different. So the imposter syndrome, you can say it was. I still feel it sometimes, but you 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 realize things are fine when you talk to people who have 10, 11 years of experience and they say, yeah, I know, dude, I totally feel you. Even I can't understand why Google works like. So, you get certain comfort from those things. I think I feel a bit better now. I want to know about this kind of companies in India. Honestly, dude, I really don't know about companies much. I really do not explore around companies much. My journey from TCS to Google has been kind of very, very straightforward. One of the reasons being I was really very directional while choosing companies. I couldn't I couldn't take many risks. So and I did not. Apart from that, another reason is I did not get many interview calls either. The first time I was switching from TCS to Oracle, I mainly interviewed in 5 or 6 companies across the period of 4 months, 4 to 5 months, right? Maybe one or two companies more, 6, 7 companies at max during the period of 5 months. Even when I was switching from Oracle to Google, I got interviewed for maybe 10 companies, right? I was able to crack 5 or 6 of them, but then just 10 companies for a period of 4 or 5 months, not much. So I did not get to explore a lot of companies or explore around them. So my knowledge around companies is kind of very, very limited, being totally honest with you. And Devashish, for that reason, just retracted his message. All right, not at all offended. Okay. Uh, Ram asks, how do you concentrate on job? I get distracted. Yeah, dude, everyone gets distracted. You just have to remember that these are the people who are going to pay you and going to promote you. You would you will get all the concentration you need. Uh, I'm 2021 pass out. Um, Currently at 3.5 LPA. How to switch? Start DSA or learn development, learn framework. Switch. Do you know any such companies who are technology driven in India? Yeah, I mean Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all FANG companies are there in. No, not Facebook, but and Netflix has, I guess, recently started hiring, but maybe not for tech roles. But Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, they are technology companies, good tech companies. Zomato, Uber, uh, Paytm, all these unicorns we have, they're really good technology companies. Go for them. Ram has again deleted his message. Like Deep Source, sorry for incomplete question. I'm not really sure what Deep Source does. Maybe I'll do a quick Google. You are mentioning Deep Source a lot. Static analysis. Okay, so another question I would like to say here is, you may say that a company is working on a particular amazing platform and I want to join that company. Doesn't mean that you will be working on a platform, right? You may be working on some other thing which they are doing, right? Or some very small part of that particular project. You may not really feel connected to that project every time. Uh, don't bother about it, I would say. Just whenever you're switching, ask the recruiter or the hiring manager what kind of work they're going to. Thanks again for such a great session. I need to go for dinner now, but I do look forward to be in touch with you on LinkedIn. Kirsch Singh, yeah, I remember your name. Uh, and Discord, Eternal Abyss. Take care, mate. Good night. Good night, mate. Even I want to leave now. We'll give 3 more minutes. It's the longest session I have taken till now. I mean, I usually take an hour-long session, but I don't know why I'm talking so much today. Domain knowledge at tech job. How do you balance? So Ram, honestly, on my first job in TCS, I had amazing domain knowledge. I had better domain knowledge than most of my business analysts because most of the business analysts used to ask me to check the code and tell them what the functionality is. And I was working in small changes team, small changes team. Yeah, it was called small changes team, and we used to work across functionality. I had amazing domain knowledge. I had shitty technical knowledge. I survived the job pretty well because that is what was required. But I knew if I just keep doing it, it wouldn't be sustainable for me in long run. That's why I plan to switch. When I plan to switch to Oracle, I just made sure that I wouldn't be gaining any functional knowledge. I I would refrain from getting totally functional, and I would be more technical and more towards code development and uh, you know these kind of stuff. So fortunately, got those kind of projects, and I was fortunate enough when there was lean time. I tried to develop projects which increased developer productivity, and I worked on my own personal projects in Oracle. It's kind of strange, mostly because Oracle, you would know about Oracle. There are two kinds of projects where you have a lot of work, and the other place where you don't have any work, much work. Much work. So mine was the latter one. We did not have much work or the kind of work we were doing. Like I mentioned while I was preparing for Switch, the kind of work we were doing was kind of monotonous, and I really knew how to do that work, so I could focus on other kind of learning as well. I built certain frameworks while in Oracle, which I couldn't complete then. So right now I'm trying to complete, but I don't have time. I ask people to help me, but they don't give me. They say yes, we will help, but then they also forget. But yeah, uh, you can find my GitHub link on my LinkedIn if you want to contribute to any of those projects. Please, we can work. So I got distracted. We were talking about domain knowledge, right, Shram? So yeah, you should have fair amount of domain knowledge while you're working. You can develop that while you're working. But I would say being a techie, I my preference would always be inclining towards tech rather than domain. Your take on Python and based frameworks like Django? Yeah, Django is used. Python and Django is used at Google. Not Django, but Python is used at Google. I'm not sure if Django or Flask is used, but they may be used somewhere. Uh, I think Python is a good language uh, for certain needs. Not always, I would say, but not bad. If you're using Python 3 with types, I'm a strong proponent of statically typed language, right? Very, very, very strong, supporter of statically typed language. What I feel is that uh, dynamically typed language aren't good for large code bases, my opinion. But yeah, Python is all the languages are widely used in Google. I have worked on Java, Dart, Python, JavaScript, C, C++. I haven't worked, but there is huge code base for these languages as well. Super fun, मजा आ गया. Thanks यार. CP versus Dev. Uh, why not have a balance between them? Do both, I would say. They both have their own fun. Uh, I kind of prefer development over CP because CP is just problem solving for me. Uh, Developing problem solving, but development is actually solving a problem. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do CP, as CP doesn't help. It does really help, and it does help you be better at interviews. It may give you, it may or may not give you an edge, but it may help you getting an edge while preparing for it. I mean, people who master CP, they usually crack interviews as well. Uh, there are other factors as well which are considered in an interview apart from being able to solve a problem. But then, yeah, if you are good at CP, you can crack interview. There's a good chance. If you don't know CP, doesn't mean you can't. But thanks for answering all the questions. Looking for more AMAs. Thank you. How much questions to practice DSA as I'm working? And is there any curated? Dude, there are many curated lists you will find over YouTube which people have shared. I usually don't like to follow them. Personally, the reason is I'm not saying they're crap. The reason is I don't want to be just focusing on those questions and following it. I like to explore things a bit, and I like to be free while practicing. I just don't want to practice lead code every day. I want to go to Geeks for Geeks and practice those questions. Sometimes I would go to HackerRank and practice those questions. I will go to some other random site and practice those questions. It it keeps things interesting for me. Balance is the politically correct answer. Yes, and since we are speaking on a public platform, I have to be politically correct. You are correct, Puranjan. So that's how it's going to be. All right. So we have spent about 2 hours. I would like to end this AMA now. If you have any last questions, go ahead. This is the time. And I would link my GitHub repo and Discord channel with this video. Please feel free to share this AMA with your colleagues, friends, spam people, probably. Just joking. No, I'm not. Maybe you can do it. But yeah, that's it. If you have any final questions, how to start web development? All right. Just pick up a book, dude. You would always have, uh, or if not a book, work on an idea, right? Any problem which you are facing, work on it. Bourbon versus Scotch. Oh, I like Scotch very much. I haven't tasted much bourbon. I have tasted a lot of Scotch. Uh, Bourbon. I have tasted Hennessy, Jack Daniels. I really want to taste bourbon. If you are in America, you are coming to Hyderabad, bring some good bourbon for me. All right. And if there are no more questions, I'd like to end this video. We can all go for dinner or sleep. If you're watching while you were eating this live stream, you really don't have a life, get one. And no more questions then. Bye bye. Bye bye, everyone. And let's see you all on our next live session. Maybe I'll do a resume review the next time, or maybe I don't know what. And see what we can do. All right. Bye bye. Yeah, and do share, like, comment, right, and share with your friends. Spam them with your spam your colleagues and everything.